society puts so much pressure on us to do all these things that are not even realistic at all. How are we supposed to raise children as if we don't work and work as if we don't have kids? Like, that is impossible. How you enter changes everything. I am worth it. I am important. I am this person. And when you do that, it just shifts even your whole aura. They were like, who is she? Because you exude that confidence, because that's who you want to be. That's who you are.
Hey, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of the Beauty in You podcast. I'm so excited for our topic today, as we're going to be talking about the importance of mindset, especially as a working mom. Our guest today is a two-time founder and national speaker. She's a foster care advocate and an inspirational figure for working mothers globally. She is the founder of the MOTHERboard, a wellness solution for mothers in the workplace. And she's also established the MOTHERboard Foundation, a nonprofit supporting working moms in the USA through community events and research. Welcome to the Beauty in You podcast, Danielle Melton. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you for that beautiful introduction, first off. And I'm just so excited to be here and just be amongst all these wonderful women, and of course, be around you. And I'm just so honored to be here.
Thank you so much. You're like my day one.
I know. It's so crazy. So for those of you who may not know, we met literally on Instagram, you guys, like a couple years ago, and just from there, just watch each other, just go for, our dreams and just keep going. And it's just beautiful that we're still, connected and still encouraging each other and all the things. So.
Absolutely. And I love watching you and what you're doing, and you inspire me, and you keep me going. And so, yes, my day one for sure. I think we did, one of the first events I did with you it's like a Zoom, it's like a game or something like that. And I think I won a bottle of wine.
Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. Oh my gosh, that was back in like 2020, 2021. Yes. Pandemic times. Crazy.
Yep. I was like in my sweatpants and everything, but it was so cool. And it was awesome for me because I actually stepped out of my comfort zone for the very first time. So yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Pretty cool. Oh my gosh. So I love what you do. You're encouraging us working moms. We're finding our way, but I want to know more about you and the woman behind the brand. So can you start me on your rediscovery journey?
Yes. So where do I start? Even from a child, I've always been a giver and a fixer. So let's just start there. I'm the oldest of four, come from humble beginnings, from literally living in a house that only cost $6,000 to, moving to Oklahoma, from New York, to middle class and having like a huge culture shift there. But I have always wanted to give, and I've always been the one who wants to fix things. And that's just been me. So even when I'm in school and things like that, I just wanted to make sure I'm doing things right and wanting to help the teacher and do things like that. So it's so interesting because like the line of work I went into is like education and things like that. So, I come from a long lineage of educators from my parents, my siblings, my grandparents, aunts and uncles. So I knew education was in my blood. So, with me, I always like to set the bar high for myself. So I, started from, associate's degree, bachelor's, master's degree, and, which I got a 4.0, which I was so excited for, right, for the master's degree. And then I met my husband, during that process and stuff. And I entered into motherhood very non-traditional. So we entered into it as foster parents because, my parents, they did foster care while we were growing up. And I just loved to see how they, loved on the children and treated them so well. And I was like, I want to give back to my community in that way. So that's it. I said, you know what? I tried to talk to my husband about it. And, once I got him on board, it's been great ever since. So since then, we've fostered over 36 children in our home since 2016 and counting. So, but when you talk about the journey, it's very interesting because, as I was mentioning, I did want to put goals, in place and things like that. So I went from an associate teacher to a lead teacher to, being over a school to even being a district director of operations, which is
awesome.
Huge for me.
Awesome.
I'm the ranking person of the superintendent. So, hitting those goals, hitting those dreams, really excited, especially with that position being operations. I'm the fixer. I love to do things in that way. But when I entered into parenthood, again, non-traditionally, the shift changed so much.
Mhm.
And it's so funny because, I have a background in education. I even taught at the university level. So I'm telling people, oh, this is what you do with kids and things like that. And they're like, no, Danielle, it's going to be different when you become a parent. I'm like, no, 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 study show, blah, blah, blah. All
The
those kind of,
data.
yeah, the data. Yeah, they were very true. They were right. All the people were right. I'm like, oh my gosh, being a parent is totally different than just the studying of it. So crazy. I did not know. I know this is crazy. How much of myself I had to give when I became a parent.
Hmm.
And especially happening overnight. So having 0 children to having 2, which weren't even babies. They were 6 and 8. But them waking up early, them doing this, them needing things. I said, oh my gosh. I guess I did not know how much time it took and how much of me I had to give. So with that said, I was having a hard time trying to balance it all. Burning out, trying to figure out how to be excellent at work and excellent at home. And it was like almost impossible. And I'm looking around like, how are all these women doing this? Like, what is going on? What am I missing that everybody seems like they have? And it got to the point where I was just trying to balance. It was just so hard for me. I had like feeling numb. I was in the shower crying. I didn't want to go in the house after work because, again, we have 2 full-time jobs. You put in your all at work, and then you're in the car trying to get your mindset together or whatever to go in the house. But I burned out, and it was really bad to the point where I landed myself in urgent care because I felt like I was about to have a mental breakdown. And it took that moment for me to really understand, like, I need something. This is not normal. This is not right. And, again, me being the fixer, I had to figure out how to fix me. So I started researching and figuring it out and found out what I was experiencing was called basically working mom burnout,
Mhm.
which most of us have that. And with that being said, I was like, I need help. I need something for me. I need to be mothered, me to be supported. And that's where motherboard came into play, where I started, this little group on Instagram, just trying to find community, trying to find something for me, which ended up being, a lot bigger than just a small community on Instagram, because it does show that so many women needed this. So many people were going through this journey and needed community and needed connection. And yeah, that's how it all got started. So
That's amazing. It's amazing because it's so true. Like when we become moms, they make it look so pretty. Like, oh my God, you're gonna buy all these cute little outfits and you guys are gonna take
mm,
pictures. And then it's like, you pooping on me and just all of it. You need me more than I can do. I haven't showered all day. I'm running around looking crazy. You're dressed. I'm not dressed. And it's like a whole thing. Like your kids literally become like it. For
mhm.
me, the guilt was I had this little person. I had my son in college. So, and I was like, I ain't going home. Like, I don't know what y'all thought this was, but I'm gonna graduate. I'm not going back home. But in saying that, it was very hard to
Mhm.
do. I was a robot. I was literally just doing like I made sure he had everything he needed. I had nothing. I was running on fumes at this point. I have no idea. But he had everything he needed. I'm working, I'm going to school, I'm coming back, and it's just a routine, because this is what I'm supposed to do. And all the things I wanted to do, like I went to school for track, and I'm like, I'm gonna go to the Olympics, I'm gonna do this. All that stopped. All of it stopped because he needed me. And then I felt guilty for even still wanting to do all the things, like
Mhm.
still wanting to do the goals and all that, because society says that I am a mom and that this person has all of my attention, and you're wrong for even wanting anything more. And so, in the thought of like, okay, I need help, I even pushed that to the side because then I'm weak at this point. That was my thought process a long time ago. Like, I'm weak. Everyone else did it, right? I saw my mom run around and do it, right? I'm supposed to know how to do this. I'm supposed to just do what society says I'm supposed to
Right.
do. So it's hard. You're right. It's absolutely hard. And I was not the best at that part of my life. I was not the best at all.
And it's just so interesting because I really advocate about this because society puts so much pressure on us to do all these things that are not even realistic at all. Like, how are we supposed to raise children as if we don't work and work as if we don't have kids? Like, that is impossible. And then we try to hit this goalpost that we can't. So then we burn ourselves out. Then we look around and say, oh, I can't ask for help because I don't want to look like I can't do my job. So instead, we all go, behind closed doors and just yell at our kids and cry and do all these things because we're afraid to say something because society doesn't make it safe for us to say anything. And it's just so crazy because there's so many mothers, especially a lot of the ones that I coach and part of the motherboard, they lose themselves in motherhood. Motherhood takes over and they have to figure out who they are because no matter, hey, I'm a CEO, I founded this, but at home, guess what? You still wiping behinds. You are mommy that I need the boob to drink,
Yep.
So like it's really, really difficult. So I really help a lot of women to help shift that and say, you are you. And let's find yourself again because your mother doesn't mean that's the only thing you are. I am this, I'm a mother as well. And I'm this, I'm a sister, I'm a creator, so, and even though, being a mother, that's like the best job. Like we're really molding and creating human beings for the next generation. But if we're not taking care of ourselves, the ones who are creating the next generation is not going to be the best version of them because we weren't able to, raise them correctly because we didn't take care of us.
Absolutely.
So it's just one thing I wanted to add.
It's like a cycle. It's like a cycle, and it's up to us to break the cycle. I found after I did get the help I needed, because I was on somebody's couch like, this ain't it, that I had to learn to communicate. I had to learn to communicate, one, with my spouse, like, this ain't it. I am not happy. And then his, on the military side of that, his career was like, he's a commander, he's this and he's that. And I'm sitting here like, where's my opportunity? So it was so much resentment. It was a lot of things I had to like really unpack and work on. But I learned that for me, communication was the key and my mindset was the key. But I had to clearly communicate, like, I'm not happy. I know I'm controlling my happiness. I'm in control of my peace. This ain't it. This is what I need. And this is what I need to continuously overfill my cup. And even saying that to my kids now, like they have to know that if mommy ain't doing the things that I need to do for me, ain't none of y'all about to be happy up here.
Exactly. And thank you for bringing up your husband because my husband, he has been a rock this whole time. Even when I was having those difficult times, at one point we had 6 kids in our home. We didn't want to split up a family. So while I'm trying to figure out life, he's sitting there like, hey, doing dinner, doing all the things. And like, we're supposed to split things out in the middle and my tasks aren't getting done. I'm just overwhelmed. And it was just very, very difficult. But the communication piece is really, really important because a lot of times, especially as women, we won't say it. We do this little walk around thing and forget that men are not mind readers. How you doing? I'm fine. Okay. Then he gonna go with what I'm fine. And then we mad that he didn't double check, So we have to be very clear and understand that men are built different. And we need to start truly not doing the passive thing and really be upfront and assertive, when it comes to things. Now we can do things and say things nicely and say, hey, I feel this way because, instead of saying, oh, I'm fine, even though you sitting there crying and you're obviously not fine, So just that communication is really, really important, especially with your spouse. And sometimes we don't know what we need, but let's talk about it with our spouse of, maybe let's figure this out together. This is how I'm feeling. These are the issues. So if you could help me figure out what I might need at the moment, because I'm so overwhelmed, I can't even think.
I've had that happen before too, where I'm like, I don't know right now, but I just need to talk. I need to talk it out. Just hear me out. And I don't need you to fix it right now either.
Okay.
I just need you to just hear me talk it out. And then maybe something will come. But I had to learn how to literally do that. I had to learn the importance of, you hear that, effective communication, right? I can do it in the workplace all day. And then I come home and I'm like, but I had to learn how to effectively communicate and find my voice. I think it's important for us as women to not lose our voices. And yes, we can say it nicely. We don't have to be rude all the time, but finding our voice and really communicating what we feel, even if we don't necessarily have a word for it, just getting it out, just pushing it out.
Yes. And then tying that to mindset, I'm really big on like, you speak how you feel. So even if you're like feeling a certain way, like try to make sure that your verbiage is more positive, if that makes sense. So mindset for everything is key. Like however you enter into a space, no matter if it's, oh, my mother-in-law's house, here we go. Or, hey, I got to take my child to, football. I'm kind of not wanting to do this. Or, oh my gosh, I'm in this interview for this job. I'm a little nervous. All the things, like how you enter into that space is everything. So even when I was burned out and having those hard times, like literally dishes were piling up, like my house wasn't clean. I was just yelling at the kids, yelling at my husband, holding out, you know what I'm talking about? Because I'm like, I'm just overwhelmed, and then like I had to do a big shift on like, okay, all these things are happening, all these things are coming to me, all these responsibilities, but what is something that are negotiables and non-negotiables, and figure those out and kind of go from there. Because a lot of times there's things that we have on our plates we cannot get rid of. There are things, our plates are heavy. Our plates are heavy at times, and sometimes we just can't get rid of it. So how we enter into spaces is basically can be all we have. So yes, we have to take Johnny to, football. It's really annoying. I'm tired. I just got work. I don't want to do this, but let's do it, right? Or you could say, I am so proud of Johnny. He got on the football team, and I have the honor to taking him. So while he's doing football practice, I'm going to do a self-care book. So this is my self-care time while he's doing that. You see what I'm saying? Like the task is still getting fixed. It's still happening. It's still having to be completed, but how you enter changes everything. Yes. So I had to learn that for myself on a lot of different things. So it's a game changer. And the women that I coach, we really work on that. And one of the things I have is the 4 Ds that I go by. So when a task comes to you, you either do it, you delegate it, which is, give it to someone else. You dismiss it, goodbye, I don't need to do it, or you defer it and you do it later. So you have to figure out which D category it goes with, because not everything is something that needs to be done by you. Sometimes you can give that to somebody else, and sometimes it's not even worth it right now. And you know what? That can be a later thing. So we really have to put things in those categories, and that helps so much when it comes to being able to not be burned out and kind of shifting how you enter into different spaces. And that works at home, at work, with your friends. Hey, girl, let's go out to dinner. It's like, well, we just did something last week. You know what? I'm not going to be able to do it this time, but what we can do is this. Maybe in 2 weeks, we're able to do it or something like that. So yeah, you got to protect your peace and figure all that out with the 4 Ds, ma'am.
I love it. That D. That delegation, that's the one you taught me. Like, girl, you need to delegate. I was like, I don't know. I remember telling you, like, I don't trust everybody. And you're like, you need to delegate.
Well, it's funny because it's hard to trust people. It's so hard. I mean, I've been in executive leadership for many years, and trust is very, very difficult, especially when it has to be earned. So I have had that issue of, what is it called? Micromanaging at times, not even meaning to. Like, hey, did you get it done? It's like, I said I would. Oh, I'm sorry, you did. So now I have to learn to say like deadline. So I know, like, when it's due. I know when it's due. So I'm gonna let you, let them cook, do their thing. And then, when that time happens, look into it. But yeah, I mean, that was a struggle for me because I had that trust issue. But it's really important to be able to do that. And then giving clear expectations of what you want that to look like too is very important, especially with our spouses. Oh, you didn't say that. And you're like, I thought that was understood. No, it wasn't. So let me make sure that I am being clear, in that, because yes, delegation to everything, and give it to your kids too. That's one of the biggest things. A lot of times we don't include our children in things, especially when we're working and building and doing different things. Our kids are watching us. And the more they're included, the more they're going to understand, and it's going to help you also with mom guilt. So you're saying, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that because I have to do all these other things. Come on, Johnny, let's come over here. You want to help mommy? Okay, let's staple this. Let's put paper clips
baskets together.
Yes, it helps you, and then it helps like your bonding at that time too, especially during those heavier seasons when you're really into like work. So again, just to shift the little things like that will change so much when it comes to how you enter into spaces, how your mind works, and experience burnout. I don't do much burnout anymore. I mean, I do have times where I'll say yes to too many things because I'm interested, but then I look at my calendar like, why did I say that? Oh, Lord.
That too. Like, dang, okay, here we go. How are we going to make it work? How are we going to make it work at this point? Yeah,
Yes.
I've learned that. So the delegation I've gotten better at. So I'm delegating now. I'm like, ooh, okay, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I'm liking it. But yes,
What's
deadlines
your
were
biggest thing that you're doing for delegation? Like, how do you feel with that? Like, what are you doing to delegate? Who are you delegating to?
the biggest thing was this, the podcast. I don't know. I think we
Okay.
talked about it a little bit when I was like, I just need somebody to take the podcast and just like I do my part and just take it. And so I found a great my producer's great. She's awesome. So pretty much I record my shows and I
Right.
send it to her and she does everything else for me. I was doing at one point the recording, the videos for YouTube, the reels for Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all the graphics y'all was seeing like season 1 and stuff, that was all Chiquita, like doing all of that. Like it was
Wow.
so exhausting. And so halfway through is when I found her and I'm like, I can't focus. And then I end up missing one of my nonprofits because I have a nonprofit rediscovery. And I end up missing like one of my nonprofits because I had too much on my plate. Like I didn't, and I'm like, that my community comes first. So yes, so this is it. I record and I put it in the little box and then they do everything and they make it pretty. What I found worked for me is the finding my voice part that I talked about before. So
Mm,
it was harder for me to find my voice more so at home. But what I found was finding my voice even with delegation. So when they made the mock-ups for me and they did all the things, I don't like that. That's not my brand. Or I do like that. That works. So really using my voice to like, y'all got to look at what I'm doing and how it fits me was really important. So once we developed that trust, now it's just like a here, girl. All right. Need to approve it. Let me look at it real quick. Okay, you good. But it
mhm.
helps so much. It helps
And
so
I
much.
love that, girl. Yes, because a lot of I already know because I did like so much social media stuff, so much, especially in the beginning. Oh my gosh, all those things take up so much
It was
time, and a
tiring.
lot of times it prevents us, especially as founders, to work, on our business because we're so much in our
In it.
business,
Mhm.
and we have to always figure out like where sometimes is like, do we want more time or do we want to, spend time doing this? So a lot of times we have to put our money, where time is valuable for us. And that is where it is.
I
Like
love
I'm
you with
looking
that.
for someone for my emails. Cause I'm like, whoo, Lord have mercy. I don't have a assistant right now. So I'm like doing a lot of everything. I'm like, okay, this is a lot, So now, like we are saying, that plate, what's on that plate? This needs to be delegated because this needs to get it off so I can focus on, building community and things like that.
Yeah.
So,
And that's the next thing. Like now I'm like, okay, now that that's taken care of, I need a grant writer. I need a grant writer. Y'all
mhm.
listen, I need a grant writer. So my email will be below. But yes, so I need someone. I do that myself right now. One, because I'm just like, oh, let me do it. But that does take a lot of my time. So
Another thing that's really helpful, I don't know if you ever thought about this, but yeah, you probably have, like a lot of times, especially as we're, being founders and we're like building and things like that. A lot of times trade-offs are very helpful. Like, hey, you're a grant writer, great. I'm a this. We want to trade and do this for each other. And
mhm.
that's another thing I always explain to moms too is having that trade-off. Hey, you can watch Lily on Thursday.
Yeah.
I on this day, I know I have a friend whose name is Shaniqua, and our daughters were in a STEM camp together. And she is over at school, I'm doing what I do. And like she goes and takes on Wednesday, I take on Thursday so that they can go, and just finding that balance and finding that rhythm and finding that tribe to help, when things need to be helped. So, and just being able to step back and notice, hey, I might need help in this area. I might need, who do I know? Who do I know who can support in this area, as well as, how can I support them back? So, not always have to be monetary. It can be, I scratch your back, you scratch
You scratch
mine.
mine. Yeah. Community
Mhm.
is important. Build your own. I always say build your own community that's going to work for you and your family. It doesn't have to be traditional. Like whatever works for you guys. It doesn't have to be, oh, so-and-so's doing this. Let me do it too. No, whatever works, build
Mhm.
it. And yeah, without my community of, they're my family because they're my family. But like without that non-traditional, bye. I'm like, can you get Leah? Can you get Trey? Where y'all at? Can y'all go? I need you
Literally takes a
guys.
village. Like we can't
Hmm.
do it all. Like we have to rely on other people. Yeah, have to. So like really hone in on that. So, and it's not failing, y'all. It's literally you're one person. You're
Yes.
one person. You
Yeah.
cannot you have 100 arms and things like I like to say, like, especially when I was over at school and, had a lot of people under me, I'm like, I know what my strength is. So when I hire my other leadership team members, I look at what their strength is. And I say, oh, now our team has this. Now our team has that. And it kind of reminds me of the Power Rangers, when they put those different body
Yes.
parts together and became the big, yes, that's what we were. We were that Power Ranger coming together. She's great at Excel. She's great at, writing, she's great at, seeing the big picture, and to bring us all together as one big mind is beautiful. So thinking about that, what your strengths are. And then again, when you find other people like, oh, you're great at that, I'm great at this. How can we collab? How can we support and all the things? So
Yes, I love it. It takes that. And just us moms, like, we're doing a good job. I think it's important to say, like, you're doing a good job. We're doing a good job. Like, we have to give ourselves grace and be thankful for our progress and what we're doing and just being human. A lot of the things that we even talked about today, it's just, to me, it's like being human. Let's normalize moms, women, period,
yeah,
being human. We have feelings. We're allowed to show those feelings. We're allowed to talk about those feelings. We're allowed to not want to do it. We're allowed to be angry. We can cry. We can be sad. We can be happy, all the things. We don't have to be this mode all the time. Let's just be human. And I think that's really
human.
important.
And not a superwoman. I say get rid of that whole superwoman syndrome,
Mhm.
rid of the verbiage. We're just regular people raising children, you guys. We are literally, that is who we are. Oh, wow, you're so amazing. Wow, super. No, I'm stressed. I'm overwhelmed. I'm doing all the things and I'm doing it. Okay.
Mhm.
So let's just normalize like being a mom, being normal. And just because, you know, I like what you're saying, a good job is a good job. Doesn't mean you're perfect. Of course, we have our times. No one's perfect, but you are doing it. You are going for those goals. You are raising a beautiful person. So just keeping that in mind is everything.
Absolutely. Especially when people are, I get that. How do you do it? I'm like, I'm tired.
How do I do it? Coffee and a prayer. What do you mean?
Where my Celsius at? I have my Celsius this
Girl.
morning. Like, being really, really realistic about it. And one of the things that you had said previously is like utilizing the time, like when the kids are at practice. My kids are at practice every day for like 2 to 3 hours. So my computer is with me too, because I use that time I can get something done. I can
Yes.
get this knocked out. And so I really, really had to look at my schedule to find times that worked for me to get stuff done. Not that it's overwhelming. If it's overwhelming, I'm not going to do it. But if it's something that I can knock out, I'm going to do it. Even when it comes to the podcast, like, you're doing what? Like, yes, this is my down season because, we're training a lot right now. We're training, but when season starts, there's no podcast recordings happening. Y'all going to see them because they're already done. But, so it's a lot of like making it work for you and balance it. Like, I love picking my kids up from school. I love that. Is like one of the moments where I know it's traffic. Oh my God. No, I love it. I love when my daughter gets in the car and she's like, nah, let me tell you what happened. I enjoy that. I love when my
Yeah.
son gets in the car and he's like, oh my God, I did really good on the test. So it's like, I'm going to ensure that everything that I do around the Chiquita Mack and everything works so I can have those moments. It's not, I just think we have the power to do that. So we're human, be human, normalize, and make it work for you.
Yes, yes, yes. And just know that your mindset is everything. Like
Mhm.
like I was saying, how you enter into spaces is everything. And if you're not confident, if you're like, oh, I don't know about this, you know, one of the things I like to say is, especially as we're mompreneurs, is, you know, think of that one person you want to be, like, especially when it comes to your business. Like, where do you want? Like, what's the highest peak? If you could be the best you, if like 20 years to 10 years later, it's like, I want to be here. I want to have this much money. I want to dress like this. I want to, be asked to tables and, be seen on, CNN, all these different things, right? Okay. So if that's where you want to be, what is stopping you from walking like you're there now? That is one of the things I had to do with a mindset shift. I'm like, I'm already there. So I need to make sure that the way I walk, the way I talk, the way I dress is that same person. I don't need to wait till I'm there. Like, Oprah's gonna call me one day, so I need to walk around as if Oprah and I are already friends. Things like I am worth it. I am important. I am this person. And when you do that, it just shifts even your whole aura. They were like, who is she? Because you exude that confidence, because that's who you want to be. That's who you are. You're just not there in person yet, but you are there because you are that person. So I just want to throw that out there. And my last big thing is a lot of times, and I love what you were mentioning too earlier about like you wanted these dreams, you had these dreams and aspirations, but you had a little one, a lot of the moms that I coach, many of them are putting a lot of things in the back burner and not going for their dreams and goals. And the reason they're saying is, because they have children. They don't even think about it. They'll all wait till they get older and stuff like that. So, but it's a whole nother thing. Like, yes, it's a whole nother thing. Don't wait. So I like to say children are the reason, they shouldn't be the reason you don't go for your dreams. They should be the reason you do because they are watching you. Every step of the way, they're watching you. And when they see mama, with 3 kids, single mom, get that degree or, start that business, all these things, they're going to say, you know what, if mama can do it, I can do it too. So just keep that in mind. Go for it because you have during this time, even if it's hard, even if it's difficult, even if you have to, ask for help, that's okay. Let them see that. Let them see that it's not easy, but it's doable because mom did it. So I can too. So just keep that in mind.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, you're absolutely right. They're always watching. I know even when my kids, my son wants to do a clothing line. I'm like, okay, let me see your design. Let me see your, and I'm talking, let's talk business plan. And all those things in his head, I think it's important. So yes, they're always watching. Do it now. Do it now, you guys. Don't wait. Don't wait. You've been amazing. Again, thank you so much for being a part of the podcast, being a part of my journey. I'm going to keep watching you and watching you soar. But I'm
here. And let me know if you're needing anything. Like the founder, mompreneur, the mompreneur, we already know how it is.
Yeah.
So how else I can help support you, let me know. I am all here for it.
I appreciate you. Can you let the listeners know where they can find you?
Yes. So you can find me all different platforms at Danielle A. Melton, or Motherboard is at Join Motherboard, all platforms. And then our website is daniellemelton.com and joinmotherboard.com. And then lastly, I just want to say that I do have a goal setting workbook that I created from all the things that helped me to shift my mindset. And it's on Amazon, and it's a very simple, quick workbook that you do monthly because I know how busy we are. And it also comes with a digital version and a printable version for each one that, each person who buys the workbook, you get access to both. And then our goal setting workshops, we have once a month because we know accountability is key. So yeah, love to connect with each and every one of you.
Awesome. And I'll make sure that everything that she just mentioned is in the show notes. So it's easier to access, just one click away. All right, you guys, if you are watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit that bell and make sure you subscribe. And if you are listening wherever you stream your podcast, make sure you drop that review. All right, you guys, until next time.